and welcome to Drinks and Discussions, the RPG podcast. This is where a bunch of us sit around and discuss anything related to RPGs. I know, very niche. So basically, what we've decided is today we are going to discuss. I don't really know what you would call this. Originally, it was going to be a game, but Pickles brought up a very good point that we would probably all suck at it. And so we've decided to change it into a discussion. And this discussion is going to be basically person, place, thing. It's your favorite person, your favorite place, and your favorite thing from a video game that you've played. And I was just telling them before we got started, man, this was actually a really hard list to make. I have probably a million honorable mentions that I didn't pick, but could probably make it. The tough thing for me is I don't have favorites. So, like, if people are like, actually, Pickles has asked me this. What's your favorite movie? I don't really have one. Book? I don't have one. The game? I don't really have one. Like, I don't have favorites. So trying to pick my favorite person, place, and thing was challenging at best.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
So that's what Ace and I were talking about before you brought us in.
we were trying to discuss, like, well, what would our favorite things be, and why is favorite such a hard word to put into terms for us?
Yeah, and like to really narrow in, like, there's so many different.
Yeah, the thing. What is the thing?
What I narrowed in on and what really helped me was it wasn't so much like I was looking around and like doing some research, and like the big ones are like, you know, Witcher, Commander Shepard, you know, Spartan from Halo. And, like, you know, all these big names, but that was, like, the best heroes that have ever been made. But my list, I don't know what your guys' lists revolve around, but mine revolve around the ones that really affected me. Like, the ones that I connected with most. So, like, I love Geralt of Rivia in the Witcher series. He is not my choice, because it wasn't the one that, you know, touched me personally. So anyways, without further ado, let's get into this episode. So, here on Drinks and Discussions, the RPG podcast, we're going to first discuss, anyone have a D6 in front of them?
I do.
Hey.
Well, yeah, beyond our comrade D6,
okay.
But I feel like he should be the one to roll since it's...
1 and 2 will be person. 3 and 4 will be place. 5 and 6 will be thing. Pickles, roll for us.
Oh, okay, yeah. I thought we were gonna have the D6 roll, but I'll curse us.
We roll dice here.
6. What was 6?
Thing. Oh, that's the toughest one.
Yeah, that is the toughest one.
Starting off.
Okay. Do I have a volunteer to go first? Your favorite item or
done.
thing?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I got one.
Okay. You both are volunteering, so one of you go first. The other one's gonna have to go first on the next one.
I rolled the dice, so a dice.
Okay.
I think you should go since I rolled.
Okay. So my thing is the blink mechanic in Dishonored franchise. I went with a mechanic because when I think about like my favorite thing, I just kind of generalized it to like items, mechanics in a game, that sort of stuff. And so so my favorite is probably the blink mechanic because there's so much you can do with it. I mean, the whole world is obviously built for you to be able to use this mechanic, and the satisfaction of like upgrading that blink to be able to like go these extremely long distances and like perch yourself on top of a light post without anybody noticing that you're there, and just being able to get the drop on people from like these crazy positions is I thoroughly enjoy that mechanic in the Dishonored games. But in a close second is the Jackdaw from Assassin's Creed Black Flag, as like something you could build, and like your Wrath has talked about this before, but like your mobile fortress that you're building and taking with you on all your adventures. I think that's a really cool little mechanic that they added also. Yeah. So that's my thing.
The blink mechanic, that's a good one. I never would have thought of that, but that is a really great thing.
Yeah.
Huh. All right.
All right.
Pickles, you seemed ready.
I am ready. But I mean, if you wanted to go next, you could.
Well, I'll
certainly.
share mine because Adis already did. The Jackdaw from Assassin's Creed Black Flag is my choice. Absolutely, building that ship is probably one of the pinnacle points in my life where I realized, hey, that shit's fun. Building up a home base, building, being able to apply to it and add to it. I've tried to mimic this in video game or in TTRPGs ever since. It's something I always look for in video games now. Can I build a base? Can I outfit it? Can I decorate it? Can I improve it? Can I add people to it? So yeah, 100%. My close seconds would actually be one of the other Assassin's Creed games. I believe it was Assassin's Creed 2, where you get to build up this villa. Not as much heart into it, but it was one of the first games that I ever played where it was like, that was probably one of the first games I ever played where you got a base, you got to improve to it, add to it, you got to put up fortifications, you got to build a little town around your little villa. You got, cannons, you had to teach them how to fire the cannons. Absolutely changed my life. I was like, this is amazing. And then in the very next game, they destroyed my villa at the very beginning, and I was so mad. The very beginning of the game, your villa explodes, and I was like, what?
You gotta reset all of the boosts you got from the previous game.
I was so mad. It broke my little heart, my little childhood heart. So yeah, Jackdaw from Black Flag. If Pickles is the villa from Assassin's Creed 2 and my honorable mention stole his, I highly doubt it though.
And his honorable mention is the blink mechanic.
There you go. Full circle.
Full circle.
I have never played any of those games. And speaking of games, this is where I feel like my answers would never be guessable with our guessing game. I love the game idea that you had. It's just, I am the sour apple here, apparently. You guys would be able to guess, but okay. So my first thought for this, for a thing that I really, really enjoyed, was from a movie, and then I was like, well, I could just gush about 13 Ghosts for a while, but that's not what this is about. So the love of spell books, I think, is my honorable mention, but the actual mechanic I thought of, or item, I guess, I was really thinking, like, what item is really unique in a game, is from Psychonauts, the 2005 platform PS2 game. There's an item that's like a little door that you can hold in your hand that you just put on the back of a person's head, and you go into their mind and go into a platform level and explore and learn about them and like gather information and help them deal with their emotional baggage, quite literally. And I guess thinking of the most interesting mechanics was that transport door. I mean, it really makes it so, yes, you're at this like campground and it's a bit wacky and you can go different places, but this is a method to make it so our character, our party, if you will, can go to distant realms and have like a swamp level, even though there's no swamps nearby. A quick way to be like, okay, we can go to a wacky suburb neighborhood that spirals and is really upsetting. But then we come back to our HQ here. And I'm reminded of a certain mirror you can get in Suikoden 4 with the giant ship that let you do a similar thing. Being able to have your hub and then being able to move remotely. I guess that's a function in video games that I really enjoy. After you've suffered through the rigors of travel and you can appreciate it.
To expand on that, no, I totally get that because, like, that's one thing that based off my love of, you have an HQ, you're able to build it up, you're able to add to it, you're able to improve it, you're able to bring people into it and, like, choose, oh, I went on a quest with this person who turned out to be a blacksmith, we really bonded, and now I can have that person, that blacksmith, in my actual base, and I feel the connection, like, that's huge. having that, but still being able to go out and adventure is really tough in a TTR. Like, do I put you guys in a castle? Well, what if I want to do a sea thing and like you guys are out on the ocean? What if I want to do, okay, you guys get a boat. Oh, well, what if I want to do, you know, a landlocked event and then you can't go to your HQ? So having those kind of, you know, teleporting kind of cheats is a very helpful thing to have. A great mechanic. Cool. So that's things, our favorite things from each. So we had the blink mechanic from the Dishonored series. Is it in both or was it in 2?
It was in both, yeah.
It was in both? Okay. It's been a long time since I played them. Shout out to Mr. Pickles. He bought me those. At least the second one. I can't remember about the first one.
That guy.
Mine was the Jackdaw from Assassin's Creed Black Flag. Probably my favorite. It hands down made Assassin's Creed 4 my favorite Assassin's Creed ever. It's just, you feel so at home on it too. Like you're sailing around, the guys are singing, you built it up, you can see all your improvements that you've made to the ship as you're going. You're like, you know, all the cannons, you're like, this thing had one cannon sitting on the deck and it was upside down. Like now it's got, you know, a row of them. Like it's cool. And then Pickles is, I believe, how would I even say this? The ability to be able to travel and traverse different settings and scenes from your HQ.
Yeah, very efficiently and quickly.
Yeah. Okay. Pickles, if you will, please. Roll. We'll go with a D4. 1 and 2 is person. 3 and 4 is place.
3.
That is place. Adis went first last time. It's up to Pickles or I. Who wants to go first?
I'm going to be very passionate about mine. This is my actually like the strongest, most immediate choice I had.
Okay. I want you to go first then. I want you to take up the time. Let's go.
Nobody's going to take my option, just to be fair.
Well, the only person that I feel might take mine is him, and I'm going before him, so.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so I see how it works. Okay, so this might sound a little familiar to you, Wrath, because this is actually an inspiration, a ripoff that I did when we were kids and I was making adventures. My favorite location, my place,
Dark and
is...
stormy night. You see a tower. Oh.
No, that was just easiness. No, this was a one-time thing.
Okay.
There's a game called Shivers from 1995. It's a point-and-click adventure game with a little bit of full-motion video where your friends essentially taunt you. I kind of doubt they're your friends, but they taunt you and say, you're going to spend the night at this creepy museum that never opened. And then you have to, because that's how the game works. And it's full of puzzles that I was too stupid to understand as a child, but when I've returned to it, it was more interactive. And essentially, the setting is just a museum of the strange and unusual. Professor Windlenot's Museum of the Strange and Unusual that never opened due to him getting these evil spirits. Spoilers for a 1995 game. But he gets these evil spirits that break out of their jars and start killing everything. But the setting itself is one that, as a kid, I just absolutely love because every single room is devoted to things I wasn't really learning in school. Like, there was dedications to various mythologies. I remember there being like a room of poisons and different ways that man is inhuman to man. Execution, like, rooms. There's all sorts of like just weird, creepy, but not too creepy things that were very interactive and I don't know. I don't think it was an education game by any means, but it was one where I just found myself wandering, being like, oh, this is everything that I'm interested in right now in 6th grade. Yeah, it was just my favorite setting to immerse myself in. I never even got into the story, because I just kept moving, and the spirits, I guess, were like, okay. I want to grab your life force, but
Okay,
just keep wandering around. You're like enjoying the museum.
You're not supposed to like it here.
Yeah, so I remember trying to make that into a puzzle, like D&D game, a one-shot adventure where the party's investigating. And I remember I spooked Wrath a little bit too hard, and he ended up sprinting through the entire museum.
I don't remember this.
Well, yeah, because it was a quick session. And you're like, no, I gotta get to the. They said we gotta get to the breaker room. I'm getting to the breaker room.
So no fucking.
A video game puts like obstacles in your path that make more sense in a video game. You were like, I will fuck that door up.
Sounds like something I would do.
Is it made of wood? Well, yeah. Okay, then I have an axe.
I'm going through it. I don't remember any of this, but it sounds like something I would do.
It was well, most of my games at that time were pretty mediocre, but it was fun to just roll dice.
To be fair, the only one of my games that I remember is Stonehelm. The rest are come on. Okay. Yeah, I never would have guessed that.
Never would have guessed Shivers.
No, not even close. See, this is why we didn't make it a game. The original game was going to be Pickles came up with a place. He says this museum from Shivers. Then we have to take turns guessing things. Is it in a first-person shooter? No. Is it an adventure game? No. Okay, well then I don't know any of them. That's all I know. Is it in a tactical game? No. Fuck.
Is it an educational game? Not really.
Not really. And I'd be like, I don't know.
But sort of.
Oh man. Okay, my turn.
Yes, your turn.
Mine is kind of, I don't know, over like mainstream media, which isn't my usual go-to, but I'm going to be diving into the Skyrim world. And we are going to be diving into the first little town outside of Whiterun that you come across. I can't remember the name of it. I had it on the tip of my tongue, but now I can't remember it. But there's this little town, Chad, if you guys know, let me know. This little town that you come across mainly has a logging economy going on. It's outside Whiterun. Whiterun is the main like city nearby that's got castles and a ruler and everything. Riverwood, thank you, chat. And this is the first place. Like I swear I could just hang out and like people are going about their lives. There's there's a market. They've got stuff going on and. I actually recently saw, I don't know if it was on TikTok or Reddit or something, but there was someone just basically wrote a story. They're like about their character's life and they didn't go on to become a whole adventurer. They moved, they got out of escaping death. I'll need to find the story. I'll share it in the Discord. They got out of escaping death at the hands of the executioner. Spoiler alerts for Skyrim. And they made their way to Riverwood and they got accepted there by the townsfolk and they started a life there. They, started working, made a little bit of money, did their thing. And like, that's something I could see myself doing. Like, it is such a vibe. And like, you could go to Whiterun, like get to visit the big city, go shopping, spend the day there and then go back to your home in Riverwood. It's nice and quiet. And like, that is such a vibe. Like, I don't know, games that I could just relax, sit back, watch the life going on around me is such a vibe. That's another reason why like one of the things I always strive for in like games like Ark or like even kind of Stardew Valley. Stardew Valley I get too productive, but like Ark will say, you can build a bar, you can build a chair, you can sit down in the chair and you can look over the things that you've made, Raft, another one, you can sit and build a nice little comfort area, you can sit and enjoy the things that that are there. And that is such a vibe for me. So those kind of places that you can do that is going to stick out the most to me. And Skyrim was one of the first where I would sit and just hang out, watch the people go about their lives and, enjoy the world that is there.
Yeah. Lo-fi games to chill and study to.
Yeah. Your turn.
Yeah.
All right. So, for my favorite place, I hark back to the map sitting behind me of Witcher 3, but specifically the Blood and Wine expansion where you are you enter the world or the realm of Toussaint, which is set in kind of like a medieval French Riviera sort of timescape with all the basic Witcher functions of political intrigue and monsters. but it's such a beautiful like Riviera scape that they've set up, and you really can like you're kind of talking about here, Wrath, you can kind of immerse yourself into that atmosphere, and you get your own little like vineyard in the expansion, that you can build out your own like little vineyard, and
Oh hell yeah! I don't remember
it's
this at
just a
all.
beautiful yeah, it's a beautiful little, and I mean it's
I have that expansion. I've played it. I don't remember this at all, but my
yeah.
memory is like that, guys.
So I really truly enjoyed Toussaint from Witcher
Yeah.
3 Blood and Wine expansion. Just it that's the thing for me, is those beautiful visuals that suck you into a game and make you, like you're talking about, just want to sit there and just watch the screen for a minute. Just not move your character anywhere. Just let things happen around you. Let the engine run. Uh, those are the sorts of things that really entice me, which is why also another kind of left field one is the Dreaming City from Destiny 2. It's this kind of misty space scape with very like towering white buildings offset by these like broken floating rock formations that really also just kind of make you at some points just want to kind of just stand there and take it in.
A couple notes. One, that sounds absolutely amazing. That reminds me of Assassin's Creed, the one where you're a Spartan.
Oh,
Odyssey?
yeah,
Odyssey.
Odyssey. Yep.
Assassin's Creed Odyssey, you start, spoilers, there's a vineyard area that you start. And I was so mad you didn't even get to like spend any time at this vineyard working it, doing anything. No, it was go everywhere else except the vineyard and then get off the island and you never come back. I was like, what? Like you had such a perfect atmospheric like spot and you didn't get to enjoy it at all. And I was like, that's some bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
Other like an honorable mentions would be like, you know, places God, where was I going with this? No, scratch all that. The other thing I wanted to say was that's probably one of the reasons why I do not play MMOs. Because every time I'm like, wow, this is beautiful. You sit down and then just like person dancing, person on a motorcycle, and I'm just like, well, that was ruined.
Yep.
Like all atmosphere gone.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say that's why like World of Warcraft didn't really make a whole lot of things on my list, just because yeah, you don't really get that like that moment to like take it in and experience it. It
Yeah. All
kind of
immersion
seems like it's
gone.
yeah. Kind of seems like it's like, all right, this thing, then this thing, then this thing, and then you're kind of off on the adventure. And which, I mean, from a gameplay standpoint and keeping me intrigued that way, it keeps me intrigued in the game. But at the same time, it's not something that you want to just kind of like stop and enjoy for a second.
Yeah. Person, place, thing. We are on to person, which means Adiz gets to go first.
Okay. Well, the person that I had is not somebody that I would look up to, but I enjoyed the character. It is Voss from Far Cry 3, the first like enemy that you get, and just
sorry, Chet says your favorite person is Sky.
Oh, well, I mean,
Pickles is new to this.
Pickles, like a mid boss?
No, Pickles. There's a the fans are shipping an Adis and viewer relationship.
Oh right. Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
There's a viewer named Sky.
Oh, I get the okay. Yeah. That took a little while to load.
Yeah.
Favorite person. We're fictional in video games.
Yeah. Anyways, Voss from Fallout.
Voss from Far Cry 3.
That's what I said. Yep.
Yeah, I just love him as a character. He's a very well developed enemy, and I mean Far Cry 3 is one of the first games that I replayed multiple times, and Voss always stuck out to me. Even like going on into other games, he really stuck out as like a very well built enemy or a very well built villain to put into a storyline. He has a very I don't want to say dynamic background, but like a very unique background in that you experience like you truly understand why he is the bad guy without them like throwing it in your face as like, oh, he's kicking puppies or something like that. Which I enjoy. It makes you feel like you're not being like talked down to of like, oh, this is your bad guy here. It's kind of like, okay, I can understand the motivation here. But also my close second is Geralt of Rivia.
Mhm.
Just yeah, he's a cool guy.
He's a cool guy.
Is that the same girl that is the Witcher man?
Yes.
Oh.
Nice.
Yeah.
Geralt
Witcher
was
man.
going to be on my list, but I don't know. I feel like for me, from what I've seen, there isn't a lot, and this could be argued, and this might be a hot take, and people might get mad at me. There isn't a lot of character progression. Geralt is Geralt.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Through and through.
Geralt
Yeah.
is Geralt. Like, you want to talk like Geralt versus Kratos, God of War.
Mm-hmm.
You want to talk character progression, like Kratos shows fucking character progression. It's insane. What they did from the beginning to God of War, I believe it was 4, now going into God of War Ragnarok, like completely changed. Like, grew up, he got older, he got wiser, he changed, like, you can see the progression. Geralt, Witcher 1, Witcher 3, it's the same fucking dude. Like, it's Geralt. Unless,
Yep.
I mean, my memory's shit, so I could be wrong, but, I mean,
Playing through all 3 games, yeah, it did. I mean, I see where you come from. He didn't progress much, but
yeah.
I will say,
Doesn't
like,
care about politics. He's friends with the Squirtle and the dwarves and whatnot, and he hits on witches. That's Geralt. It doesn't change.
Yeah. And I mean, that does kind of come down to how you play him. But
Sure.
yeah,
I guess the only difference would be is that he took on Ciri. And I guess that could be the difference, but I don't know. I guess I'll go next since I'm talking. Yeah, so Geralt was going to be on my list, and then like I was saying, I think I said this before we started, like Commander Shepard could have been on my list. Like, loved the Mass Effect games, probably one of my top games of all time. Mass Effect 1 through 3, not Andromeda. But definitely wouldn't put him on there. However, going in the Mass Effect series, what I would do is I would say, as a companion, Garrus Valkyrian is probably one of my favorite companions that they've ever put in a video game ever. You look at companions like Skyrim where they're like running into walls and being like, hey, you left me, wait for me. And like, you know, all these follow quests where you have companions and they walk like 2 feet a second. You're just like, bruh, let's go. Or you're running ahead and then they get left behind, you know, they teleport around. Mass Effect companions are very fleshed out, very well written, great storylines. Even if you play through 1 through 3, you really get to know them. You get to, you know, engage with them, build friendships. Garrus Vakarian is probably the brother I never had. Like, he was ready to, no matter what way you played Shepard, Garrus had your back. Garrus was like, all right, well, fuck it, let's go. Takes a fucking shotgun to the face and it's like, hey man, I'm still here for you. Like, Jesus, dude.
shit. Here we
Spoilers.
go again.
Yeah, for real. But yeah, I would say the Mass Effect series, the companions are the best written I've ever seen. Garrus being probably my top dog. Also, I just love my beef boys. So Rex, fucking solid dude. But Rex is also very stagnant, very stale. Garrus has a lot of character growth to him, similar to what I said about Geralt / Kratos. Garrus grows throughout the 3 games. Like, he definitely progresses, and you see the well-rounded, there's a word for it, dynamic nature to it.
Yeah.
Anyways, that's mine. Over to you, Pickles.
Well, this is another example of how would you have guessed? Welcome to Mr. Pickles Ruins the Game. Okay, so if Daisy's in the chat, she can back me up here. There's a game called The Excavation of Hobbs Barrow. It came out in 2022. It's a point-and-click adventure game, the kind that reeks of something Mr. Pickles would enjoy, if that clarifies anything. But the main character was so enjoyable to play in that. And I think one of the things that made the character so enjoyable to me is that I got really sick early on of the character that's like, hey, just a guy, I'm strong, and I don't really progress much. Like, James Bond always kind of bored me because, like, just kind of the same thing with different gadgets each time. And I get why people would enjoy that, but it's the sort of thing where I got bored of the same stereotypical, like, vanilla bean male protagonist character that doesn't change. The person that you're supposed to relate to, and that's why they leave out a lot of details. And so just having a more focused character in the character of Thomasina Bateman, I believe her name is. She's a brash like archaeologist looking to dig up a barrow, which is like a tunnel. And it's very British, but you arrive by train, and you're just trying to get people to actually help you get to a certain location. Everybody's an obstacle because it's a point-and-click adventure game. But I don't know. If Daisy was here in the chat, she'd say everything I'm saying is correct. It's such a strong buildup of story with a character who's actually kind of competent and be like, no, you are going to help me. I have the money. You will accept the money. We're going forward with this. And characters being, okay. Small town people that are initially like crotchety and irritable or offensive, be over by a character who is just persistent. I don't know. It was the most enjoyable recent point-and-click adventure game I can think of, or I should say, the most recent story game that I can think of, where I was so invested in the character that the third act is a bit of a doozy, and I won't spoil it.
No spoilers.
Except by saying that the third act is a bit of a doozy. They really make you love Thomasina, at least to me, and. I don't know. It's just really any determined protagonist. I want to play A Ways Out with you, Wrath, at some point, because I know that those are two white male protagonist characters that have so much flavor and depth. It's just I'm really bored of the standard stock video game white male protagonist. Nobody come after me, please.
Yeah, speaking of A Way Out, it's a very interesting game because when they made the game, they bragged about how there are, what was it? There are no two, like, mechanics the same. So as you go through the game, you have to do different mechanics to get through each puzzle. Like, there are no two mechanics that repeat, or, like, that was one thing they bragged about. I don't know. It's just a fun little note. Fun fact.
I think that's true. I listened to or watched a Game Grumps playthrough like years and years back, so I remember them having different, like, oh, now we have to do what? Why are we doing this now?
Yeah, it's always something different. That's one thing the developers were really proud of. They made it to where there was no mechanic that got repeated. It was always something like, at one point you have to do this kind of mechanic, and now it's this kind of mechanic, and now it's this kind. It's always different.
Spin joystick.
Yeah, it's always something different, which is cool. Fun fact. I want to throw. We've still got some time. I want to throw a curveball.
Okay.
Actually, before we do, any honorable mentions?
I
think I got all mine out.
Okay, Pickles has one. Pickles, you just talked. I'll let you take a break. I've got one, an interesting one that no one would have guessed. As a favorite item from a game, I'm going to throw a Keyblade in. From Kingdom Hearts. A game that I don't even like. I've played Kingdom Hearts. I've played, how many are there? 3? Can't remember, 2 or 3. I think I've played all of them.
I rage quit the first one.
I don't
like
blame
the first,
you. I'm pretty sure I did
first
too.
time you see those infinity shadows.
Yeah,
a mechanic I do not like. Least
yeah,
favorite. Honorable mention.
I didn't like
dishonorable
that.
mention.
Dishonorable mentions. Ooh, we should have those.
Dishonored.
You know what? We're gonna throw it in there. No, not Dishonored. Dishonored is good. Okay, so the Keyblade I'm gonna throw in there as a favorite item because even though I never completed the game, I never really got that far into them. I never blah 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 blah. I've never felt like such a main fucking character than being the dude holding the goddamn Keyblade. I was like, holy fuck, I'm big dick energy. Like, I can't think of any other game where I was like, oh shit, like, I'm the dude. Even Skyrim, like, you get the voices, well, so does everyone on the mountain. Like, the Keyblade, that was the one where it was like, you're the dude. Like, you're him. You're that guy.
Oh, you're that guy.
So that was one that I was like, that's a powerful item that really like affected me, and then the game immediately ruined it and I quit. But Keyblade was one that I was like, that's a cool, I don't know, it was just something that was like, you're the hero.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Pickles?
I was gonna say that the Keyblade reminded me of Final Fantasy VIII, I think, where you have the gun blades, and it's like a experimental technology. I want to say I'm not a big lore fan of it. And, like, I remember enjoying the game, but it was like, this is stupid. But they're like, no, it's cool, and it being like, okay, so the main character has a gun blade. It's a revolver built into a long sword or whatnot, and like that actually being a valid weapon that was beneficial at points.
That's how I always felt about sword canes. So I was like, I don't get the point.
The point is the surprise.
Yeah.
Be like, what the fuck, Grandpa?
I mean, you could pull a sword from a sheath, or you can be like, hang on, let me pull it out of my cane.
Well, you're supposed to press like a button, right? You press a button on the side of it, and the bottom part falls off, and you go, I'm still in the fight.
Yeah, I'm still old. Now I have a sword.
Or I'm quirky and young.
Yeah, that never made sense to me.
Mm-hmm. I guess I
go ahead.
I would also throw out the main character of the game, Gylt, Gylt. It's a game I didn't finish, but I really want to at some point when I have more time, and when I start sucking less at video games, because I suck very hard at video games. The premise is that you're a bullied little girl that's like trying to find where her kidnapped cousin is, and you trip into another realm, and there's all these like spiritual demons and whatnot that are, well, you have to avoid them. That's as far as I got, and I am terrible at avoidance tactics. Shout out to Labyrinthine, where I was the dead weight of the party. They had a great time solving the puzzles for me. I struggle when I can't fight back. But it's a character where like immediately they're like, trigger warning, if you have a problem with being bullied, you might not want to play this. And I'm like, uh-oh. And just having to run away from like bullies taunting you in the background, and there being achievement for not getting your clothes wet that I got, is like, oh god, this is a horrible world, and we're going somewhere worse. This character needs to be helped.
That reminds me, Pickles, you'll get a kick out of this. I recently, like within the last couple months, saw someone, I can't remember who or where, there were people playing a video game, Bully.
Oh, from Rockstar.
Yeah, the original Bully game. And I looked at it and I double took and I was like, I know this game. I played this game.
That.
Yeah, I played it in Pickles.
Right here.
Yeah, the game was so fun. Yeah, Bully. I saw people playing. When did that game come out? Can't even see it, but yeah. Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
When did that? What is that game? Like 2000s?
Oh god, I'm living in a world of shadows. I can't see.
2002, 3, 5. Trying to think when Pickles and I. 2007. I'm trying to think when Pickles and I were friends. I'm like, it wasn't that long ago. 2008.
2006.
Oh, it's close.
It's copyright 2006, so I don't know if that was like
sometime around there.
Yeah.
But anyways, yeah, I saw people playing that in public somewhere, and I was like, hey, I know that game.
Oh, hey.
It made me feel so bad
The
replaying it.
The game was something.
Like, yeah.
Real quick, how much time we got? You know what? We got time. I want to hear dishonorable mentions because I think that's a great idea. Least favorite person. We'll just go least favorite, unless you guys have a least. Oh, I have a least favorite place.
I definitely have some least favorites.
Yeah. Let's do it. Let's just go. Each person say your top 3 least favorite. We'll start with the D's. You said you've got some. So least favorite person, least favorite place, least favorite thing.
Sure. So my least favorite people, I don't even remember their names specifically, but they're like the 2 influencer villains from Borderlands 3.
Oh.
I really did not like their characters. It was way too like, it felt like the adults coming into the room and being like, "How do you do, fellow kids?"
Oh God.
Yep.
It was. I honestly hated those characters in the Borderlands series. That was probably my biggest dishonorable mention there. As far as like places go, I don't know, probably some of the like Far Cry DLCs actually. Like they're very repetitive. They like have a cookie cutter mold of like what they're doing, and sure, some of them do have pretty nice visuals, but at the same time, it's just like, all right, you copy pasted a map and added and like increased the bloom on some of your things, some of your textures. And then probably my least favorite thing is honestly World of Warcraft, like daily quests or reputation gating content in World of Warcraft, where you have to grind a bunch of reputation with certain factions in order to progress a storyline that is supposed to be a part of the main expansion.
Oh, interesting.
That was something that I really despised. They started it back in, I think it was Warlords of Draenor when they started doing that, but it just got really bad with like Shadowlands was the worst case of it, where it was just not fun to go and try to have to go in. And it wasn't like you could grind it all in one sitting. It was like you had to go in and like log in multiple times a week to do your daily quests to grind reputation, and then once you did your reputation quests, you were done for the day, and you had to wait until the next day to grind more reputation, and it just wasn't fun. I had a bad time with that. Yeah.
I've got my 3 pickles. Are you ready?
I'm not ready at all.
I'm gonna go. Least favorite person. Literally anyone in a Pokemon game. Every single fucking person you run into in a Pokemon game. They're completely pointless. I hate them. There's no story, there's no character, there's no nothing to them. They're just a person with a name and something fucking stupid. Haha, shorts! And then you're fighting a child. And I'm like, what is happening?
Yeah. They have one line, and that's all that's to them.
It's like, Brock! And then they fight you. And I'm like, why am I fighting you? I don't even know who you are. You just jumped me. It's literally just a game of people, like, gangs jumping each other. Like,
what's your name? No, we're fighting.
Yeah, I'm a 10-year-old, and just like some hiker jumps off a rock and goes, shorts! And then fights me. And I'm like, I don't know why you're beating me up.
My name's Pickles.
Yeah.
Is your name Shorts?
No, like, you don't get to know that. You just trainer. Oh man, anyone in a Pokemon game, least. Dishonorable place. Dragon Age. The Inquisition. Great game. Except you spend about 75% of this fucking game in this one valley, and it takes so long to get through this goddamn valley. just to get to the rest of the game and enjoy the actual game, you have to spend so many hours running back and forth and back and forth across this goddamn valley. I hate it. I can't play the game anymore because of it. I hate this valley. Which sucks because of something I'm going to talk about later. The first map in Inquisition is way too long. I think that's the one. That's least favorite thing. I thought of one of that might be on Pickle's honorable dishonorable mentions. But I won't steal it just in case he has one. Least favorite thing for me would probably be any other person in an MMO. I've talked about MMOs. I feel like have so much potential. They fit all the boxes of what I want. It's completely ruined because I get on and the people that play, I'm just like, wow, you're this. It's not that they're doing anything that's wild. They're playing the game, but them being there ruins it for me, which sounds weird, but it is. Which sucks.
What you got to do, Wrath, is find a really low population server.
Or team killing, now that I think about it.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah, because like when I played Rainbow Six Siege, one of my favorite games, I really loved it when it first came out. The community in that became totally toxic, and you would spawn in, and if you were like, anyone got mics, and if you were just like, I don't want to talk to them, and then you get shot in the head and dead because you didn't talk, and you're just like, oh, now I don't get to play. And then they don't get in trouble or anything, they can just get away with it, and you're like, cool. And so here I am streaming it, now I have to wait. Team killing, I'm gonna say that's even worse. I can be okay with not playing an MMO, but playing a game I actually want to play and then just getting killed and having to wait. Fuck that. Those are my three. Pickles. Dishonorable. People, place, things.
Okay. I'm gonna go with any place. That...
Just any place.
Anywhere.
Okay, any place that has a lot of detail in the setting and has places to explore and like treasures to go into, like little, like really fine detail, and they give you a fucking time limit. Dead Rising.
I didn't play Dead Rising.
Left 4 Dead. There's so much detail in like all of those, but they give you a time limit. They're like, "Oh, you can't do everything in one run." And it's like, "Well, okay. So what is it that you don't like about your setting? You put work into it, but you don't want me to see it in one run. Do you need me to see it in like 3? Do you think your setting is that good?"
I would even throw...
And I don't know. I don't know the answers. And with like Left 4 Dead, I find myself like going off in these little like, "Oh, there's a building here," and obviously I should just play 7 Days to Die, which is what I actually want to do when I play Left 4 Dead. Different number, similar game. But like Left 4 Dead, it's just there's so much to explore and see if there's any treasures or anything there. And I don't know. That's my least favorite thing is when they're like, "Yeah, no, don't spend too much time in this thing we worked hours over." So time limit on a good place.
I would even throw, for those who watch streams, we recently played Warhammer 40k Darktide or something it's called. And that's one that I immediately called out, because like you'd all spawn in and you run in to go fight the enemies and move through the level and get to the end and win. And it's like you keep playing through. It's kind of like roguelite. You earn stuff as you go, you bring in your loot, you go through. Excuse me. And I would be the one at the back of the group, kind of moseying along, looking at the architecture. I'm like, holy shit, like there's so much goddamn detail. I'm looking at everything, looking at the NPCs, looking at the walls. I'm like, looking at stuff. I'm like, oh wow, I don't know anything about the lore in this. And I'm like, looking at all this stuff. And then my team's like, where are you? And I'm like, you're the ones who ran the fuck off. Like, that's not my fault. You left. And I'm enjoying the game. And apparently you're not supposed to do that. So, yeah, it fits in.
Okay. Killing Floor in there too. I deeply enjoyed that game, but they absolutely are like, "Oh no, there's a time limit. You can't really look at the guns too much. We put a lot of detail in all the guns. There's tons of for each of the classes, and some of them might be good with other classes. But okay, and now you can't buy anymore. Oh, you sold all your guns? Oops.
This is true stories.
And then Brad's like, I don't think I like this game, guys. And I'm like, well, Yeah, it's valid.
I mean, I see your point.
That's not a kind move.
All right, least favorite thing, or was that your least
I just
favorite
gotta
thing?
turn my camera around. But least favorite thing. Um, this is gonna sound similar, but anything timed or rhythm based. I'm gonna call out a specific game since we're on a PS2 rant here with Psychonauts. Gladius, does that ring a bell?
I played Gladius.
Yeah, Gladius, a turn-based game with rhythm-based attacks, where it's like if you want to do the combo move, you have to press the X button in 3 specific intervals that are very narrow. And they had unique ideas for like all of the different things. Like a combo attack is a series of hits, whereas a special attack you need to do combos. A ranged attack you need to do like angling. Um, sorry. Like I hate anytime things are timed or rhythm based. I don't like DDR, Dance Dance Revolution.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I'm just terrible with anything that's like that. That mechanic as a whole, just give me time. Don't make me do things. um, that's my rushed idea of a thing that I despise. Dishonor. And for a person, I play a lot of single player games, so I was tempted to say I hate me, but that's not true. I don't. I
didn't
really
realize
can't
that you
think
skipped
of
person.
I
didn't
jumped
realize.
around.
Yeah, I didn't realize you'd skipped person. I apologize. Yeah.
I just really don't have a good one offhand because either I mean, generally with most characters, you remember them because you love them or you hate them. And if you hate them, there's sort of often a good quality of like, that's why I hate them. Oh, they're so hateable. And it makes you feel passionate. And I guess there are some where it's like that's a disgusting kind of hate that just pisses you off. But for me, I just remember characters that are like, that was such a well-rounded character, as Adise said earlier, where it's like, I love that villain, or that hero was a lot of fun, or that character had a lot of moxie, or they had determination, or they were against all odds, the underdog, all sorts of things. So I don't remember any characters offhand where I'm like, you made me so angry just existing.
Not even Pokemon trainers.
I was always like, oh, free experience points. I will chew you up and spit you out, Mr. 34-year-old park ranger that's picking on a 10-year-old.
Yeah, you're the ranger. Why are you fighting me? You're
I'm
supposed to warn me about people like you.
No, I mean that like the goal is to like beat them, and then they're like, oh man, maybe I should do something better than bully a 10-year-old. And I'd just be like, yeah,
don't you have a
my
job,
squirt will
bro?
make you hurdle.
Dude, I will die on that hill. Anyone in a Pokemon game is fucking stupid. I want to throw a curveball in before we wrap this one up.
Sure.
I want to throw in favorite moment or cutscene from a video game you played. If you have any like critical moment, you know, maybe it could be like a final boss fight, it could be an intro. I would throw an honorable mention in. Surprisingly, I'm going to go back to a Kingdom Hearts game. You spawn on an island, and you get to hang out with the islanders and kind of live the life. Again, this brought back my immersion, and it was awesome. It was really cool. Granted, I didn't like any of the Kingdom Hearts games, but that little intro bit was a lot of fun. Similar vibe in one of the Zelda games. A game, again, Zelda, not my style, not my type of game. Never really got into them. There's one where you were a little kid and you get to run around and hang out with the villagers and like do stuff for them, and you know you were had little quests in the village before you went out and got your first sword and like moved on. It was fun, but it wouldn't make my list. Mine would be actually in a game that I've already mentioned, Dragon Age Inquisition. Once you get past that stupid fucking valley that I hate and I will never play this game again for. you get to a point where all the companions you've collected throughout the game, you are in a tavern, and one of them starts singing, and it goes into this cutscene where she's singing, and you get this whole moment with all your people hanging out in the tavern, you know, kind of listening to her sing and enjoying a drink and a warm fire after just going through hell. And it's about, I can't remember, I think it's like on the eve of a huge battle or something, or it's just after you won. I can't remember, but it's just that moment will always be like, I would play the game again for that moment, except for that fucking valley. So now I won't. But anyways, that's my critical, you know, favorite cutscene moment from a game. You too?
That's a tough one. I've got one though. It might not be my favorite, but it's a more recent favorite. I played this game called Labyrinthine with my friends, and one of the early things.
It's on YouTube. Go check it out.
Yeah. One of the early things I just love is the first level. I don't know why, just those stupid ghosts like swinging out, being like, so much fun, and Wrath being like, hey, wait, huh? There's a ghost down here, and me being like, what do you mean a ghost? It'd be like, there's a figure, and I come over and I see nothing. It's just, well, he was here. It was just,
I swear he was here.
There was so much like spooky elements that that was a fun like scene.
That was a great
sort
game.
of just going through that, and again with Adis when you joined us, it was a little bit more rushed then, but God, that was fun.
One of my favorite moments in that game is when, man, we were through this game, we were into the later parts, and I was like, man, at least there's no more of those little ghosts jumping at us. Me, what the fuck?
Yeah.
It was the perfect.
Right.
We hadn't seen one for days, and then I'm like, hey, at least there's no more of these ghosts, and then boom, one pops out at me. I was so mad.
And it doesn't even do anything.
No,
that's
doesn't
the
fit
insult.
there. It
just pops out.
But like, what are the chances? The devs put one in way later in the game, and what are the chances that I say something about it and then walk face first into it? It was just like, you can't write that.
They
like,
knew.
You can't make that.
They
up.
knew.
They're gonna have forgotten about it by then. Like, dude, that was probably one of my favorite moments. Dude, we had some good times in that game.
That's great. That was a great
game to play through. Absolutely. If you guys are looking for a co-op game to play through with your friends, absolutely, I would recommend Labyrinthine. It was a wonderful game to play through with your friends.
Dishonorable mention. Same game. Those stupid flying bugs. They just buzz around you.
I think you're the only one who got eaten.
Yeah, but I remember you being like, "Oh no, I got to go back in the room." Okay,
yeah.
well, I'm just kind of staying here.
Yeah, because you both died, and you were both having to watch me, and I was having to duck and like hide from these fucking bugs. I do remember that.
Be like, okay, now they're away. I'm gonna go out. Nope, they're back. Okay, I have to sit here for a little bit.
That was a shitty mechanic.
Okay, now we're going back. No, and it was like, what? Like all the other monsters made sense. They were annoying, but those bugs just felt like that felt like harassment.
Yeah, I could see that. That's a good one. Alrighty, Dees.
All right.
Really dishonorable scene, though. But yeah,
I don't think we really have a dishonorable. What was your honorable? Your honorable was going through that.
Yeah, the initial
bets,
yeah.
So, I'm forgetting the name of this one, but it's a scene. It's a cutscene that's from World of Warcraft. I think it's.
I can't help you there.
Yeah, I can't help you there.
Yeah.
Any World of Warcraft people who can help him?
Paging Dr. Nuts. Paging Dr. Nuts.
Paging Dr. Nuts. It's in one of the raids that is in the Legion expansion, and you're going through this raid, and it's kind of one of the side bosses, so it's not really like a main boss that you have to go and defeat every time. But if you go and defeat and fight him, it's this kind of this like best way to describe it is like, have you ever been in like an IMAX or like one of the domed IMAXs where they like project the thing on the screen on the dome? So it's like one of those, and there's this chronomancer that's in the center, and there's some really cool cutscenes of like as you transition into the different phases of the fight that end up with like taking you to different timelines in the world of Azeroth's like path, and one of them is kind of a teaser for one of the later expansions, where you get to see Azeroth like with like these void tendrils like coming around and like engulfing the planet. But you're seeing all this from like a space view, and it's I can't remember the name of it for the life of me, but that's probably one of my favorite like cutscenes that I have in video games, because I don't know, it was cool.
That's fair. I would say
But-
my honorable mentions would probably be one would be your first time ever becoming Pokemon champion. Like the original games, you know, your first time, like finally beating the Elite Four, beating your fucking rival, and becoming Pokemon. Like the first time is like, I remember I was just, oh my god, I did
You
it.
become a man.
Yeah, that was achieving
that was the
manhood.
moment.
That one, and then I absolutely 100% adore Mass Effect 1 through 3, and a lot of the cutscenes from that. Again, my favorite companions to like befriend and stuff. So a lot of the cutscenes that you get from that, you become a man. Laugh my ass off.
No, you really do, unless you picked you are a girl when Professor Oak harasses you about your pronouns. Like
what do you got in them pants of yours?
yeah, it's like, dude,
Don't you worry about it, Grandpa.
I'm your neighbor. You've
Pretty-
seen me
oh,
on your
yeah.
house.
He's not your grandpa. He's your neighbor. Yeah. Why is your
Oh,
neighbor
sorry.
asking a 10-year-old? I guess I mean I would nowadays. No, we'll leave that.
No, that was 1998.
Yeah, people just kind of assumed what you were, and yeah.
Like he didn't.
Anyways, that one. Becoming a champion is what I was saying. Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah. Champion.
I think my dishonorable would probably just be anything from Mass Effect Andromeda.
Oh shit!
Trying to get canceled? Yeah, I'm not trying to get canceled. This sounds like moving
I
on.
am mostly. I think
we're moving on. Yeah, dishonorable. Mass Effect Andromeda. Anything from that probably would be S. Just you take a great game and just ruin it. Sucks. Assassin's Creed's, I would throw a lot of like the Ezio Auditore, Duncan, like great. Not dishonorables, honorables. I don't know. Any other last thoughts? Favorite people, places, things, events? Dishonorable people, places, pieces? People,
I have
places,
one
things?
actually. I have a quick one. Because I played Bully like years back,
No,
but
back to
like
Bully.
a re-approach, and one of the intro things is beating up one of the nerds, and he's like, "Don't hit me, please, please don't hit me. I have IBS," and I was like, "Oh, I don't feel good about doing this fighting tutorial on this guy that just said he has IBS. That makes me feel really
bad. Could you
bad."
imagine how desperate you have to be like in school and be like, please don't hit me. And then you just open up and you're like, hey man, like I'm gonna show you my soul right now. Like this is my deepest, darkest secret.
It's embarrassing.
And then Bully's just like, yeah.
That's what that one. Yeah, no, that I get the point of the game, and that it's sort of you eventually fight back against that, but that was one of those things where that's a cutscene that made me go, oh god, I don't think I can play this anymore. That maybe I could probably play it if I didn't have audio. I could bully kids if I didn't have audio. Okay,
I could be a deaf bully.
It's like, maybe you shouldn't do that then. I don't know. It's a game that has merit, but that's one cutscene that made me really feel uncomfortable.
I would
Also,
still throw it up there as a
which is
great game. I mean, how unique? How many other games are out there where you school bullying?
none.
Great game. Like just a very unique concept, like that no one else has done well or at all.
Mm-hmm.
That would be an interesting discussion to have at some point. Like, what are some of the most unique games out there that there's only like one of their kind?
Rockstar Manhunt. The only game based on a snuff film that I can think of. Like, oh, that's an edge you could cut yourself on. But I mean, so is Bully.
I'm trying to think, was Manhunt? Is that the one where you play as like an assassin dude and you have to go into different places and kill a bunch of people?
Close. Manhunt 1 is you are
What
a
am I
criminal
thinking
that's
of?
going to be executed, but a snuff film
No,
maker
not this.
kidnaps you and is like, okay, you have a second chance at life. I'm gonna make you
Hitman.
kill some people.
You're thinking of Hitman.
Hitman. That's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah, Hitman is. Yeah, Hitman's also.
I was like, I've seen a bunch of different kind of copycats of Hitman.
Yeah.
But I would say there's a bunch of different those.
Manhunt was definitely different in that guns were not meaningful to you. You use garbage to kill people.
I think in Hitman you can kill people with a fish.
Yep.
Yeah. Anyways, that should be a discussion for another time. This episode, we talked about our favorite people, places, things from video games, and even threw in special moments from video games, even threw in some dishonorable mentions. So this has been Drinks and Discussions, the RPG podcast. Huge shout out to Mr. Pickles. He's not there, but he's there. The mastermind behind a tabletop series called The Strange Town Golden Ridge. You can find it on YouTube. Go check it out. He also is a voice actor. He plays characters such as Morgan from Dirty Journey and Grunkle from King's Crossing, among others. We also have, and he is one of the two hosts of a podcast called And I Took That Personally. Go find it on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, where him and Brad talk about movies. We also have Adis. He is the mastermind behind the tabletop role-playing game called Dirty Journey. You can actually find it here on the podcast, where we play it kind of every other week. He is also the host of Whiskey Sips with Adis, where on this podcast he gets to tell us all about different kinds of whiskeys and introduce us to the finer things in life. He is also a voice actor. He plays characters like Adarag from King's Crossing. So go check him out. That's all on YouTube. I myself am Wrath. I'm the mastermind behind a tabletop role-playing game called King's Crossing. Go check it out on YouTube. I'm also a voice actor, kind of, and I play characters like King from Strange Town Golden Ridge and Solomon from Dirty Journey. So, we hang out a lot. So if you want to see more of us, go check out the YouTube where you can see more of us a lot. Also, Labyrinthine, full Let's Play is on YouTube. That is the three of us played together.
Yeah,
it was a great game, absolutely fun. I would say another podcast episode we should do at some point is like co-op games worth playing with friends.
Mm-hmm.
Like Labyrinthine would be on there, you know, ones that we've actually tried.
Yeah.
But anyways, that's all I got for you guys. Thank you for watching. We will see you in the next video. Have a good night.
Cheers.
I love you.